Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. Today we have a guest, Jeff, the creator of the hit true crime card games Killers, joining us to talk about how he turned his lifelong fascination with crime story into a successful card game brand. From designing the games on his grandfather's step to launching a product that's now making wave in the industry, he's going to share how he's bringing everything into life in a respectful and also creative way. And he's going to also talk about how he's leveraging podcasts, books, and also speaking engagement to really expand his reach. So thank you so much, Jeff, on joining us on the podcast today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. How did Killer even this project came to life for you, and what was your inspiration behind it?
So really, it's been a lifelong interest for me. So I've always been interested in true crime. It's been since I was really, really little. And how the Project Killers, the card game, became a thing was actually me and my son were at a little shop, an oddity shop here in Cincinnati. And while we were there, he came up to me and he said, "Dad, can you get me a pack of these cards?" And I looked at him and I said, "What are they?" And they were the old true crime cards from the 90s that Eclipse put out. And so I looked at him, I said, "Well, how much are they?" And he said they were $6 a pack. And I said, "Son, you ain't getting no cards for $6 a pack. I'm not buying you no $6 a card pack so you can throw them away." And he said, "Come on, Dad, come on." And I said, "No, I'm not buying you a $6 a pack cards."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Come on, Dad." I said, "Listen, I could make those cards." And as soon as I said that, like the light bulb went off. And by the time I had gotten home, I sat down for about an hour and a half and I sketched out on a piece of notebook paper the basic idea for Killers, the card game.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, it took me a year and a half after that to figure out how to do it and to, get things into production and do all of that. But yeah, it was from that initial us going to the oddity shop and walking around in there and him saying something to me to realize that I hadn't made a game in 30 plus years. And it was like time to get back to work, I guess.
I see. And I think before the interview, you were mentioning you were making games when you were like at age 8.
Yeah.
Before. So what kind of game were you making when you were like when you first get started?
So very, very basic. And it's really funny because I still have my first game in the other room. I should have grabbed that. I forgot to grab that. But anyway, it was my very first game that I ever designed. And it was made from some KO boxing cards and another set of boxing cards. And we used to take it and we devised a dice rolling system on like knockouts and TKOs and stuff, and you would go through and you would get your record and you'd go through all the cards and you'd face off against each other in different rounds, and then at the end of the game whoever had the best record won. And it was really boring, a lot of dice rolling, and everybody hated it, and I was bigger than everybody else, so I forced them to play it no matter what.
I see. Got it. And so that is a very different game than the game that you currently have.
Absolutely.
I know true crime is such a heavy genre. How do you balance this kind of a darker theme to make the gameplay still kind of fun?
It's not easy. And, there is a lot of things that one of the big questions is always about, glorification and stuff like that, and we don't do any of that. Like, it is simply telling the stories and reminding people that these are things that we don't want to forget, because when we forget about the past, really, really bad things happen. And so I always want people to understand that going into this. I created the game because I wanted people to be able to have a safe space to get to understand these people better, right? And understand why someone might come to this place, why their life may put them in a position where they would live out these things. And so I wanted to give people a little element of that, which is one of the reasons why we kept the actual pictures on the cards. That was really, really important to me because I wanted them to have a connection. I want the game to feel a little bit uncomfortable because it is an uncomfortable subject. And so, balancing that with cards like, for example, we have a inept police card, which is quite funny. Actually, I have it here. Where's it at? Well, I had it here. There it is. The inept police card.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
So your killers can get away from the cops, and balancing it with things like that are kind of funny that you can do. I also I'm a huge fan of Magic the Gathering, so there's a lot of influence with some of those cards like that. You can interrupt other people's kills and things like that. So we try to keep it light. I did all the flavor text. So there are a lot of very, very funny phrases on the bottom of the card, trying to keep it a little bit light, even though it's such a heavy subject.
I see. And since you have the card with us today, can you also give a quick demo on how the game kind of play work and what is the rule behind the games?
Okay, so this is your Dahmer card in the game. So if you look at the card itself, on the bottom you have, I don't know if you can read that. Anyway, it says men on the bottom. And so that is their victim type. So all of them have a specific victim type. And so they get a +1 for all of their dice rolls against that specific victim type. The 4 numbers next to that are charisma, brutality, intelligence, and elusiveness. Those are D&D influences in the game. So that is actually your dice roll modifiers. So if you're going to abduct a victim, you would either roll for charisma or brutality. So you're either luring them into the car with candy, or you're hitting them over the head with a pipe and throwing them into the trunk. Completely up to you.
I see.
Brutality, when you're going for a kill, is always what you would roll. That's the modifier you would roll. So you'd roll for brutality for your kill. If the police are trying to investigate the little evidence tokens that you leave behind at the crime scene, it's an intelligence roll. And then if the police are trying to apprehend you and throw you in jail, it is an elusiveness roll. So there is some very D&D elements to the game. And really trying to get in there and understand, why would these people do this? Like, for example, Charles Manson is the worst card in the game, except when you play the Cults expansion and he gets the rest of the Manson family, then he's actually pretty good. But in the game, he has no specialty because, as far as we know, he killed no one. Then his charisma is only a 3 out of 4. So he's pretty charismatic, but his brutality is a 0 out of 4. He has no brutality at all because he didn't kill anybody. We balance the game through who they really were in real life through those different categories.
Interesting. Okay. And how do you win the game? And is everyone try to kill other people in the game?
Yes. So everybody is playing with a stable of 5 killers. And so your goal is to be the first person to get 10 kills through, all you have to do is get 10 kills, or be the last killer standing. So whoever has the last killer, if everybody is arrested. And then the back of the cards have a little bio on the back, and then some stats at the bottom.
Okay.
So it tells where how many alleged victims they had, how many confirmed victims they had, and then how many years they went undiscovered before they were arrested.
So you have some actual history behind the person as well. I see. Okay, very interesting setup. What would you say is the biggest challenge to bring this game to market?
I think the biggest challenge is for me was finding, a manufacturer, a publisher that was willing to get on board and to do something
Mm,
in this genre,
I see.
because there are a lot of people that there are a lot of things out there that are cultural no-nos, right? And
Oh,
so I break a lot of those barriers with a lot of the games that I create. So it's
mm,
that is challenging.
hmm.
But I was surprised. I really thought when I started this out, I thought, we're probably going to go to the first convention and we'll be there about 10 minutes and maybe they'll
Hmm.
ask us to leave. And there'll be people that'll be like, man, this is crazy. Why would somebody make this? And it was the complete opposite. I went to a
Mm.
convention, and the very first one that I went to, we did like $1,200 with no product. I,
With
I
no
didn't.
product.
I had nothing to give anybody
Yeah,
because we were still on pre-order at the time.
I see.
We
Okay,
had nothing manufactured. I had one demo copy,
I
and
see.
I was like, I stood there and I kept selling them, and they kept signing up. They kept giving me their money, and I was like, dude, there's a real product here. Like I could actually make this into something.
Hmm.
And so from then on, it was just like gangbusters. We went, and right at that time, we had actually, we were doing it on Indiegogo back then,
Okay.
before we went to Kickstarter. And so we
Hmm.
ran the very first one on Indiegogo, and that was really successful. And
Okay,
then we released the first expansion on Kickstarter, and have been with Kickstarter ever since.
I
But
see.
it's been wild. I would have never expected it to
Hmm.
go as well as it did, but I'm glad.
Hmm. I see. I see. Thank you for sharing that. And obviously, your game does stand out in a crowded kind of space. Like, how do you find your typical audience that really enjoy the game like yours?
So, like, the thing is, with a game like this, you look at who's interested in true crime, right?
Hmm.
And there is a huge segment of the population that is very interested in true crime, that watches all the documentaries, watches
Hmm.
all the shows. Everybody is talking about the new one that just came out, and this crazy story and that crazy story. So
Hmm.
I had to really go and look and see, okay, where are those people at? What are they doing? Like, what are they engaging with? And I really kind of found a home in the oddities community,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of crossover there that is very interested in both history and not as much gaming, but history for sure, and really strange things. And so I have done a lot of work there and met a lot of people within the oddities community, and then before that, I started out going to like gaming conventions and comic book conventions, and I was shocked at
Hmm.
like how much of an audience there was there, because true crime kind of transcends all of that. Even whether they're interested in gaming or they're interested in whatever, people are fascinated by why people would commit the crimes that they would commit. And
Hmm.
so you find like everybody knows somebody that's into true crime, or is
Hmm.
listening to a true crime podcast, or is reading
Hmm.
a true crime book.
I
And so
see.
it's just kind of a natural fit. I didn't have to look far to find the audience.
Hmm. Okay.
It depends on where I go. Sometimes I get some funny looks, but
Yeah.
other than that, by and large, I have not been to a place yet where I
Hmm.
didn't find lots and lots of true crime fans.
Ah, okay. Thank you for sharing that. And I know beside the game, you're also a podcast host and an author. Can you also
Yeah.
talk about some of those other creative outlets that you also do?
Yeah. So I wrote the book Beyond the Headlines: True Crimes, Myths, and Legends.
Hmm.
That is volume one of a currently a 5 volume series. I'm working on book two now,
Okay.
but I released that last July, not this past July, but the July before that. So it's
Yeah.
been out a little over a year now. It's done really, really well. I
Hmm.
won the International Impact Book Awards for history with that
Oh,
book.
congratulations. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And so it's been really, really cool to be able to get that and to stand out even within the true crime field.
Mhm.
So after that, I started the podcast, and
Mhm.
I started True Crime Myths, Legends, and More. And
Mhm.
so that's over on YouTube. But
Mhm.
there we talk about all kinds of different true crime cases. We talk about
Mm.
some of the stuff that is maybe outside of the box, like some of
Mhm.
the alternate theories and things like that,
Mhm.
because I think that it's important that we give light to all of it so people
Mhm.
can have an informed idea of all of these cases and they can go out there and understand the totality of
Mhm.
what's going on and not just hear the mainstream ideas about, oh, okay, this is who did that, because those things are not always true.
Mm.
We don't always have all the information, and sometimes it is, especially when it comes to cold cases and stuff.
Mhm.
There's a lot of theories out there, but we
Yeah.
need to look at every piece of evidence to understand, okay, what
Mhm.
really happened in this case.
Mhm.
So I am always fascinated by that.
Yeah, that's also sound like very, very like publicized what like on the cases as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, and I guess for you, beside the podcast and obviously the book, and I think you also speak at different event
I
as
do.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
what do
I
you
do.
really speak about, and how important it is for you to really help with your game success as well?
So it's interesting because all of it, the podcast, the book, the speaking, all of it goes back to my gaming company. And so I use a lot of that as a platform. And I really did it because, I want people to know that this is more, to me, is more than just, a game. It's
Mm.
more than just, even books or anything like that.
Yeah.
I am out there consciously trying to educate people and have
Mm.
them understand all of these things, because I think it is super important to not
Yes.
forget. A lot of people want to sweep things under the rug and forget that they ever happened. But we
Mm.
run the risk of really having those problems reoccur. And
Mm.
so,
Okay. Yeah.
the more that we can get people to understand these things, the more forensic people we have out there, the more police we have out there, the more people that are coming up with new programs to help the
Mhm.
people that may offend. And so I think it's vitally important that we look at all of those things and we get people to understand that, whether that is through playing games, whether that is through reading books, listening
Mhm.
to podcasts.
Yeah.
Uh, and I have always been one of those people that, like, I don't like to, like, I cast a large net. So, like, I want to grab everything that I can
Mm.
in one area. So if I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about true crime, I'm going to hit I'll podcast and
Mhm.
books and everything.
Mhm.
So, but I think it's really important to do that. The speaking, I often talk about the psychology of serial killers is one of the topics I talk about a bunch.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will
Yeah.
get up and I will speak about that. I talk about true crime myths and legends within true crime, and actually the book, there has been some talk about doing a documentary series on it.
Oh, really?
So
Whoa.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I'm hearing the beginning of the rumblings of that, and I'm like,
Oh, wow. Nice.
I'm in, hit me up, I'm down.
Yeah. 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 That will be very interesting, and will
Yeah,
also help the book as well. So.
absolutely.
Yeah, and well, look, going back to the game itself, when you are designing the game or the way the game mechanism work, like how much of you kind of mentioned a few kind of element earlier, but how much of that, like when you're designing it, you're also trying to really reflect the real life narrative, like you mentioned, you're including some of the history as well. But besides that, what other element that you also try to incorporate when you're designing the game?
So I think I'm always trying to figure out ways. One of the things I love to do as a game designer is I often I, I don't even play people's games anymore. It's so bad
Mhm.
because I never have time to play any games. But
Yeah,
what I love to do is I often buy games just to
yeah.
read their rule book, because I
Ah,
want to I want to
okay.
understand how the game functions.
Yeah.
So I often pick apart game mechanics and
Mm,
try to figure out, okay, well, how would that work for something I want to do?
mhm,
So, like, how would I fit that type of game mechanic into a game that I want to create? And so
mhm.
early on, I had this idea that I wanted to infect every part of gaming with true crime stuff.
Okay.
So I have made, Killers was my first game. I've
Yeah.
got like 8 other games out there that
Mhm.
I've created of all different kinds of uh, modalities, I guess,
I
and
see.
different mechanics and stuff that are all based around true crime. And
Mhm,
so, like, always trying to figure out, okay, what works best? What do I like? As what do I like? What do I enjoy playing? What do other
mhm.
people enjoy playing? And how could that tell a story and teach people the history and give them a better understanding of the world around them?
I see.
And so, dropping that element of realism into everything and
Mhm,
keeping that at the forefront, everything that I do has always had a very historical background
mhm.
because I want people to understand that. So I have a game that is currently unreleased that I
Yeah.
hope to release later this year,
Okay.
but it is called Step Right Up, Rule the Sideshow. It
Oh,
is
okay.
a
How does that work?
yeah, it is a tableau builder. And
Okay.
so my friend Dan will love that I finally used that for the first time because I was saying it was a deck builder and he said it was not. And I said, I think it's a deck builder. I'll call it whatever I want.
Okay.
So we had some good arguments about that, but he's finally got me.
I
So
see.
it is, but it is a game where you are trying to build your 10-in-1 sideshow. You have
Okay.
tarot sized cards. So I did that on purpose because the original cabinet cards that they would give away or sell at the
Mhm,
sideshow were just a little bit bigger than tarot size. So I
mm.
wanted people to get a feeling that they were at the sideshow and that they were getting these cards directly from the sideshow acts.
I
So
see.
in the game, you can have up to 10 cards and you have to build up your draw.
Mm.
The amount of draw that you have is the amount of people that are coming to your show, and then
Okay.
you can charge them ticket prices, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
so the more people you have coming, the higher you can get your ticket price up. And so then
Okay.
you're trying to make the goal of the game is to have the most money at the end of the game. Whoever has the most money wins.
Okay.
You have to hire all of your acts. You have to
Mhm,
pay them every turn,
mhm.
so you're constantly managing money and making sure that you're taking care of all of them. And then people will show up to your sideshow. And one of my, like, we try to add a lot of historical elements. So you might
Interesting.
have a politician that comes to the sideshow and you have to grease the wheels of the politician and give him $500 so that he lets your
Okay.
sideshow go on or he'll shut
I
you
see.
down.
I
Uh,
see.
we we have Tesla's thugs, or not
Mhm.
Tesla's thugs. What's his name? Edison's thugs that
Okay.
may show up at the sideshow. Thomas Edison was well known for having people show up and
Mhm.
like say, "Hey, where's our cut?" There was a lot of these things going on in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So we really try to drive from a lot of those things. You can burn down other players' sideshows. So there's
Oh,
cards in there to do that. That happened a bunch.
yeah.
Your sideshow act may get drunk and end up leaving the sideshow because they were out partying too much. So
I
there's all
see.
kinds of things that you can do that are very, very relatable to history and
Mm,
fleshing
okay.
out some of that history. Some of it's done very funny. Some of it is very serious because a lot of those people
Mm.
went through very, very difficult things. But
Mhm,
one of the great things that I love and have always loved about the sideshow, and specifically P.T. Barnum, is that he gave a place for people that at the time had no other way to make money.
mm.
And
Okay.
he gave them a good living. And even though they had to struggle, they had to, go through a lot of difficulty to do that. Some of
Mhm.
those people were more well paid than, during the time than a lot of, the like very similar to all of the celebrities now. And so
Oh,
there is
okay.
no other way that those people would have been able to live that kind of life if it
Mhm.
wasn't for the things that P.T. Barnum did.
I see.
So so I always have found that fascinating, and I really wanted to showcase that through the game and really show that uh, don't forget about these people. They were a huge part of history for about 80 years. All of these, the lobster boy and the fat lady and the strong man and all of this
Mm.
stuff. They were a huge part of history for a very
Yeah.
long time. And a lot of times, now because we're the culture has changed. It's like we don't want to think about those things because they're kind of dark history, but they're
Yeah.
not really. They were these people were really taking everything they had and giving us a way uh, to have insight into their lives and to see the talents that they really had. And so that is always amazing to me, and I always want to showcase that.
I see. Okay, that sounds like a very interesting project as well. So, but what is next for the Killer Empire itself? Like, how are you planning to grow the true crime universe that you have been building?
So I've been working this week.
Mhm.
I tend to get laser focused on things and just like go on a creating spree.
Mhm.
And so currently, what we are working on in development right now, matter of fact, right now I'm printing out some uh, books to get ready for this.
Mhm.
But I have a couple new games coming out. The one that I'm working on today is called Killers Shadows of the Mind
Okay.
RPG. So
Oh,
it is
okay.
going to be our
RPG
first,
version. Okay.
yeah, it's going
Okay.
to be our first role playing game.
Yeah.
That you will be able to play as a detective. It's
I
very
see.
detective heavy. So you're
Okay.
going to play either as a detective, a forensic person with a bunch of different subclasses around that, or you can play as the killer. A
Oh.
lot of times the GM will play as the killer,
Mhm.
but if you're playing in a large enough group, you may have a killer that is playing alongside of you as a hidden role. So you'll be playing
Mm.
along with them and trying to figure out and solve the case and figure out who has done it.
I see. Okay.
But
Okay.
it is a completely fully integrated RPG.
Mhm.
It also has a solo mode. It has an
Oh.
Oracle mode where you can create everything yourself and run your own solo campaigns.
Oh.
You
Okay.
can play with
Interesting.
multiple people. You can play player versus player, so you can play with 3 or 4 killers at one time, trying to
Okay.
outdo one another. You can play. There's like 6 different modes to the
Mhm.
game, so I've been playing around with all these tables and figuring out, it's based on a D20 system to make it
Mhm.
easy for everybody. And
Okay.
so I am really excited about that and the progression of that. Uh,
Mhm.
we are going to start play testing for that
Oh, okay.
probably in the next couple weeks. I've
I
literally in the last week just came up with the ideas for that.
mhm.
So I've got some stuff, some preliminary stuff printing out now,
I
and we
see.
will start going diving into play testing here in the next couple weeks,
Got it.
and start to play a few games and see how smooth it runs, and then make the necessary changes, and hopefully sometime next year that will come to market and will be ready to go. And I say that sometime next year, knowing that the way that I work, it'll probably be out in like 3 weeks. Uh, that's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And the other thing I have coming out, which is something that I've really been excited about.
Okay.
Of course, I already mentioned the sideshow game that hopefully will be dropping by the end of this year. We've
Yeah.
kind of been waiting for the market to be a little bit better
Mhm.
because things have been crazy here.
Oh, whoops, Jeff, I just think I just lost you. So hopefully you can come back. Okay, welcome back. Sorry for the technical trouble we're having. So you're
Yeah,
mentioning about the next game you're rolling out.
yeah. So Step Right Up hopefully will be out by the end of this year, and then I was working on an updated, smaller version of my social deduction game. So I have a social deduction game called The Profiler.
Okay.
Really great game, but it's a big game. So,
Mm.
talking 6 to 15 players
Oh,
that you
wow.
play
Okay.
in like a
That's a lot.
party.
I see.
Yeah. And so one of the things, like, everybody really loves that game. It's very immersive. But who has 15 players to get together to play?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's kind of hard to get that many people together at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm
Or
like,
people
okay,
to play.
what do I need to do to make this game fit into a smaller foothold? And
Mm,
so it took me a year to figure that out, and
okay.
it took me a year to figure that out. And one conversation, I was at Origins this year,
Yeah.
and my good friend, um, who owns, he has a game called Don't Get Stabbed,
Okay.
and so he was right next to me there in Origins, and so we were sitting there and we were talking about it, and he said, "Well," and his game, Don't Get Stabbed, is like a 3 to 5 player social deduction game, and
Okay.
so I have my 6 to 15 player, and I'm like, brother, I don't know how to cut it down. I just can't figure out
Hmm.
how to do a 2 player or 3 player social deduction game. It
Hmm.
doesn't make sense to me because I love all the social
Hmm.
aspects of social deduction. I
Yeah.
think that that's a big thing. And so he was like, listen, he said, go watch this video on YouTube. It's a show in Britain that called Carrot in a Box. And he
Okay.
said, if you could figure out how to do, Jordan is his name. He said, if you could figure out how to do Carrot in a Box for a social deduction game, it would be gold. And I said, okay. So I went back to the hotel, I watched the video, and
Mhm.
within 5 minutes, I knew exactly what I was going to do.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so
Okay.
so
I
Carrot
see.
and then I bugged him all night long. I kept sending him images and like the stuff that I was working on, and he's like,
Yeah.
Jeff, show me tomorrow. We'll be at the show all day tomorrow. And I was like, I know, I'm sorry,
You
I
get too excited.
apologize. I was like, this is what happens to me. You can't get me started and then tell me to stop.
I
So
see.
yeah, we get. I watched this, and so Carrot in a Box is a show, a game show, where they
Mhm.
bring up 2 people on the stage.
Yeah.
There's 2 boxes on the stage, like,
Okay.
right. One of them has a carrot in it. One of them does not.
Okay.
So one person gets to look in their box. So one
Oh,
person will know the whole time if they have the carrot or not. Now it
interesting.
is
Okay, then.
now the whole goal of the game is to bluff and to convince the other
Oh.
person that you don't have the carrot and get them to take your box. And
Okay.
it
Okay.
ends up being really funny the way that they,
Mhm.
try to bluff and everything. So I was like, all right, how do I do this with social deduction
Mm,
and make it really fun, really fast? So
I
what
see.
we came up with is a game, and I wish I could have grabbed it here, but it is on very small scale production now.
Mhm.
But it's called "And the Killer Is," and
Mhm.
it is a 3 to 5 player social deduction game,
Mhm.
right? Uh, so you have less than 15 minutes a game. So
Okay.
you have three 2 minute rounds, and then you have 3 minutes in between each round
Okay.
to deduce or to bluff. So
Okay.
you start out, you have these envelopes, and one person will know that they're the killer. They'll know for sure. They'll have it in their envelope. It'll tell them who they are. And so it is everybody else's job to figure out who the killer is
Mhm.
and what kind of killer they are. So
I
what they'll
see.
do is they'll read through the police reports, the medical examiner reports, the forensic reports. They'll
Yeah.
read through those, pull out clues, and then they'll deduce together, trying to figure out, okay, what kind of crime are we talking about here? And
Mhm.
then they'll come back together. They have 2 minutes to read through that. They'll come back together, and they have 3 minutes after that to deduce and to blame each other. And the killer will then be able to bluff and try to blame it on somebody else or shift the blame to a different type of killer if they're on the right track. And
Okay.
so there ends up being a lot of interplay and lots of bluffing happening the whole game. But
I
again, it's only 15 minutes. So,
I see. I see. Well, yeah, that sounds like a very interesting game. So that game is already published, or are you still working on
so,
it?
so I have it. We've been play testing it, playing around with it, and showing it to some select people. So we
Oh,
have
okay.
some
Okay.
copies
I see.
that we've been handing out and showing to people and getting some opinions on it. And so hopefully we'll figure out how we're going to actually publish it in the next year. So that'll be another thing that's coming out that we have. So a smaller version of the profiler,
Mm,
Step Right Up, Rule the Sideshow, and
mm.
then Killer Shadows of the Mind RPG are all in the works.
I see. I see. I see. So as we are wrapping up today's interview, and thank you so much for sharing your journey and the story so far. If you have to share just one piece of advice with someone that's getting started within the toys and game industry, what would that be?
I think one thing is that any idea that you have, run with it and figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any of those ideas are great. And there is really no subject that is off the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is an audience for everything.
Mm-hmm.
There is an audience out there. You just have to find them,
Yeah.
and you have to tap into that market. If they are looking for it and you have the right thing, and you can put the right label on it and make it look really good and polished, people
Mhm.
will come and they will buy it and they will play it. Just make sure that it's something halfway decent when they get it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. Thank you again for today, your time today to share your story and being on the podcast and share that with our audience as well.
Absolutely.
And for our audience, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support. We would love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource tips and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag #ToyBusinessUnbox. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestion for future episode. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unbox podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.